do is voting. I don't know if we want to, I can't remember if we run through the cards to kind of like understand what each one is, or if we want to jump into voting.
I would suggest we jump into voting. There's quite a lot of cards on there, so
yeah,
we can take a little bit of time to explain them once we've voted on them.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. Just having a look if there's anything grouping. They're pretty much, yeah, they're fine. Cool. Let's do voting. So to do voting, it's pretty straightforward. If you look at the screen, there's voting tool, or you can use U button on your keyboard to enable it. If you click on that, and you should be able to start doing click on things. Let me put a timer of 5 minutes. I think that should be enough. How do I start this? Start. There you go.
The standard 3 votes, I assume.
I did not set a setting for it, but yeah, go for it. 3 votes. Like I said, I've been using Miro too much, and I forgot how to use this.
So if you right click, you can remove one of your votes as well.
If everyone's done, just move your mouses to the right of the sticky notes, so then I know if we need to stop earlier. I'm assuming ML is frozen in time, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that everyone's done voting. That feels like a yes. I'm seeing
I would say
nubs.
so, yes.
Cool, awesome. Pausing that or resetting that or whatever. Cool, so the next part is relatively straightforward. I think I can press this button, toggle ranks, yes, awesome. And that should tell me the ranks of the cards. So I'm gonna grab that one. Uno, dos, and tres. Let's start there. Thank you, Calvin, for moving those around. And I'm gonna untoggle that. And then we can kick off a discussion. 2 minutes to start with, and I'll add a few more minutes if we need to, based on the interest. And whoever added promote empathy, please kick off the discussion.
Okay, that was me. It's hi. I feel that it happened to me that I started 2 new projects this year, in which I never met some of the people who participated in the team in person. So every interaction has been remote, and it's a little complex if the 2 parts or the several participants do not engage in trying to come to to build some kind of relationship with the other people. That is, the other question that I put was how to encourage people to turn on their cameras. So I think that we need some way to remediate the distance and the lack of personal contact. That's it.
Very interesting. Definitely, some people are going to want to be able to share camera and have that very face-to-face relationship. It should definitely be said that some people are very uncomfortable with that. So one way of working that I've seen at a number of places is to have that contract to say it's okay to not share your camera, but what else are we going to do? So how are we going to ensure that we engage in, you know, Slack conversations, or how are we going to surface the idea that, you know, I'm more introvert and I don't want to be on the camera, or I don't want Zoom calls because they're very draining, or I have anxiety about what's behind me. So being able to engage and clearly state that, to say, yes, I hear you. Like it would be better or for you to have that face-to-face communication. For me, you know, I want to do things via Slack, or, you know, this other way, is quite powerful. And having a team charter or a project communication document to say, here are the people involved, here's how their preferred method of communication, and here's their preferred like Zoom settings for things. That makes it then less of like they're not bothering, but it showcases that people are thinking about this and highlighting what their needs are as well.
That does seem incredibly draining. So each time you go into a Zoom call, so I call you up, Callum, I need to configure my Zoom or my Slack or my Teams to work on your settings.
Yes, this is more sharing how my settings are going to be rather than enforcing your settings. Right. Yes, sorry. It would be that would be the opposite of empathy if I said you have to do what I want.
Absolutely. You take personal offence at the fact I've got a telescope just out of CUs. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yes, sorry, I wasn't clear there. That was a lot more to say. Definitely, like I'm sharing how I will have my settings or my preferences.
Yeah, indeed. And one of the things I found myself was actually, on occasion, turn your camera off. So if you're used to having your camera on, and I know this is manipulation rather than empathy, and people can't see you then, so they can't see the facial expressions, they can't see your hand movements, they can't see the fact that you hold up one of your cards that, let's say, I need the loo, and things like that. They lose that as well. So I've managed to encourage a few people to turn their cameras on by actually turning mine off, and actually saying, well, because they've then said, well, I can't see what you're doing, John. I can't see what's happening there, and that I said, well, I can't see what's happening in you either. You know, it's two-way communication. You know, if we're going to sit in the dark, we'll both sit in the dark.
I think also one of the things that is helpful, even if you don't have your camera on, just have a picture of yourself, so that at least, especially if you're new to a team, you get to although you're not directly speaking to that person on video, you can actually see their face and you get to understand who you're talking to in that way. I think that's also quite helpful. You know, even if it's just a really silly picture of yourself just doing something crazy, right? It gives you an idea of the personality of the person, maybe, or you know, and I think that's also a helpful trick if people don't want to actually have their camera on, and you still have a type of connection there with the person you're speaking to.
Yeah, I've done about 4 more minutes, so it's been 6 minutes in total. Do people want to continue discussing this? It's a pretty interesting topic.
I think one of the things I'd say about this is it's all to do with company culture somewhat as well, and who's actually in a position where they can start to bring these ideas to the fore. And I find sometimes in teams, especially if you've got someone who's quite dominant, it's hard to do that and have that discussion just about the people aspect. And to say, you know, we are people and we're sat at home maybe alone and we're trying to work together. And, you know, the guy or girl at the top, whoever, is just not understanding the need for this empathy within the team, and even themselves doing some of the regular check-ins, just, are you okay? With the camera on. And I think, Callum, you said, and, you know, that can be a really important thing, what's behind you. It's your own space, and it's become quite intrusive on our own space, and we're sharing more than we ever did. On the plus side, something I found, which is really interesting, is that the depth of some of my relationships are much better than they ever were, because not only have I met the dog and the cat and the kids and the wife and the husband and whoever, it's actually expanded the relationships in a way that we never would have done in the past. So that's the positive side of it, and extending the empathy, if you like, beyond just that person as an individual, but that person, you know, and their loved ones, which is quite important if you can achieve it.
It's really interesting, especially thinking about how top down some of this can feel, especially from a mandated point of view, and thus get rid of the empathy almost. I'm lucky enough that I work in a very agile squad model at the moment, so I've been able to create. We had a meeting to discuss a team charter and set out a contract of how we were all going to work with each other in this way. So when you can pull smaller groups of people together, like a team or so on, and even facilitate or start a discussion on how do we want to do this communication thing? So rather than making assumptions that everyone's going to be on camera and be happy with that, or making assumptions that there'll be a top-down view on things, we can always, and as testers especially, we're really good at that, because we're always those people that have to come up with process and help with these sorts of things. So I'd definitely advocate for having a team discussion around this and at least agreeing what we want to do as well, because like you say, it can feel very intrusive. So let's not make assumptions on these things. Let's talk them through, and that helps with the empathy.
I would like to add one point here. So I am going through a very different phase because I joined this team when I was when the lockdown had started, and in the 2-3 video calls that we have had, only 2-3 people end up, you know, putting their cameras on, and they're still not, you know, that comfortable with putting the cameras on. And whenever anyone is, you know, coming up with the idea that at least retrospectives at the end of the sprint should be camera on meetings or something like that. So there are a few people who are not that confident. So it is not that I would say not gelling up the team that much. But yes, a developer and the PO is very I would say very cool guys. So they end up putting on the cameras, cracking a joke here and there, rather even showing their lawn or something. Like, this is where I'd like to, you know, spend my stand up. So whenever I have to you know, be in the stand up, I just walk on my lawn. So that's interesting, and that is really good to know.
That's a really good idea and a good point. Like, be the change you want to be, kind of thing. So you can always lead people by showcasing, like, hey, look at my horrible bookcase, or this is where I'm living right now. But like, build that empathy, make it seem okay as well, so that things don't have to be
There is
perfect.
this one point. What I found the biggest hassle in them putting on the camera is, so the team, so I am India based and the rest of the team is in US. So the guys who are in Eastern time zone, they have around 8 a.m. at their places. So they must be, you know, not even, you know, I'm not sure if they are, you know, washed up, or they have, you know, in a presentable mode to switch on the camera. Sometimes it happens that something like that, I would say.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, just to pick up on that last point, I did have a conversation with one of my developers a few weeks ago, and I sort of said, "Oh, it'd be nice to see what you look like again." And I said, "Yeah, but I'd have to get dressed." So that was quite amusing.
Brilliant. I guess I was going to ask how in this topic we can continue if we want to. There are a few more cards, but if it's interesting and people want to contribute, feel free. If not, then we can move on. Yeah, thumbs up. Awesome. Let's do this. Oh yeah, 12 minutes. Amazing. It's good. Really good conversation. Remote team building. Who is this? And let's start with 3 minutes.
It was me. So a little bit of background for this. I was at a company where it was a team of 6 testers, and now I am 1 tester with 4 developers. And it's been entirely remote. I've met a couple of them, obviously, I've gone into the office, but kind of ideas to kind of remotely build some kind of team building, because they hadn't had a QA for a while, and it's trying to set me as part of the process, because their current process, they do code review after testing. I'm trying to get them out of that, because that's like total waste of my time. But yes, ideas to kind of make me more of a, well, I'm being managed by the head developer and they're all managed by the same person, so I think that would help. But any ideas to kind of build the relationships there, as it's mostly remote, and some of which they're very introverted. Well, so am I, but I'll stop talking now.
Definitely. I've landed in a new team and was the first tester in that team as well. And as well as things like sort of landing and setting out your stall. So the usual things that you can do to build that understanding of what we'll be doing. So building that contract to say, hey, I'm here to do X, Y, and Z. We expect A, B, and C to happen, and that kind of thing. From a remote team building idea, I'm a big nerd and I advocate for the use of Dungeons and Dragons. It's a very good agile team tool because it teaches people to say yes and. Like improv skills. So improv skills are very good as well, but it does help you solve problems as a group, and it does allow you to sort of work together and embed ideas and have that level of fun. It can seem a bit daunting, but it's actually really sort of quite a simple thing to get going with. There are a lot of online tools for playing it as well at the moment. So definitely that's a good team building idea. I've also been experimenting with creating a mascot for testing. I now have Ramon, the testing otter, TM, that I use in all my Slack conversations to try and, again, just build that bit of fun and team building and say, hey, look, I'm a person with whimsy and I'm not just a defect generator.
I think I need to see a picture of Ramon. I assume Ramon has a face.
Yes.
I feel like Ramon is in his way. Does anyone else anything to contribute?
Yeah, from my side, yeah, we are following the same structure, like Blair explained. Every 2 weeks evening, we are just planning drinks with colleagues, just chill out after work for an hour. We have the very nice online games where everyone can divide into teams and can play. I think it's like I know these are the tough times. We are not able to see each other, but I worked in a team because I was working for a consultancy. I was working with a team. I have never seen them before. I haven't seen few faces. As you said, I agree. The turning on the cameras, which makes us communicate to see each other, see the expressions, what we are explaining. So yeah, I think these kind of fun activities out of hours, which really helps us. Like you feel like close to the team. If you don't feel that you're missing anything. And one more thing is we are planning every month actually. Since these lockdowns started, we are planning some kind of activities. Like for example, the one I proposed was having a 31 minutes everyday exercise. Just to share, we have the teams, we are performing as different teams, and we just have a small competition between us. Even the company is encouraging us. They're providing us with the Amazon vouchers, whoever do more kilometers walking or running. So it's a mixed of activity rather than sitting idle. I know everybody will be doing some kind of exercise. At least this will motivate us. Think that yes, my team need to win. I need to do more kilometers today. So which really helped me this time actually.
It's a good idea.
Indeed. As regards the after hours beer and things like that, yeah, we've done similar. It worked initially, but the attendance has dropped somewhat in the last few months. Having been pretty much a year we've been doing it. Yeah, so I particularly like the idea of the exercise around that one, and I particularly love your company for supporting that and having the Amazon vouchers, etc., to help promote that one. That's really good that you've managed to get your company on your side to do that.
We've tried things like using Kahoot quizzes, and as you say, John, you find that the drop-off happens. So everybody starts off very enthusiastic, and Kahoot at first is good fun, especially for people who've never used it. It's free, by the way, so it's nice to use and easy to develop the quizzes on. The thing that we had most attention for amazed me. We had the 30 days of song, and you had to share in our group chat the song that reminded you of such a thing, the song that made you happiest. And a lot of people shared why, they shared the song and what have you. And we had 30 days of such good fun and sharing and getting to know each other through the music we like. And it was a really unusual exercise. And the outcome is we actually have a playlist. We have a published playlist, and it's our company playlist. And it was a great outcome of it as well. And we're all very, very proud of it. And it was so simple, but so effective. And I learned things about people I don't think I would have ever learned just through the music they like. So it's something a bit different.
That's very cool. I like the playlist as well. I think our music tastes do not cross over, because I shared my like Spotify yearly thing and they're like, what is any of that? I was like, oh, I'll go away then.
This is why it's nice to share actually and see. And then, you know, we did find actually there was some crossover and some things that were really quite funny as well, and why people were choosing them. And some sad backstories as well. And, you know, the sad backstories, you didn't know about somebody, again, it kind of created an empathy and an understanding of people through something as simple as music. I would never have imagined it could have worked so well. We did another exercise which wasn't so good. We used Microsoft's 3D animals, and it worked well for a couple of weeks, but it was a once option, and we placed the 3D animal in our home somewhere, and then we had to play through the keyhole, guess whose house this is. Yeah, so that passed away a couple of weeks as well, every day doing that. You know, so it's trying to be a little bit inventive about what people can engage with.
Something we've tried a few times and it's worked relatively well is like speed networking. So just have a Zoom room open, a set period of time for half an hour, people come into that room and let Zoom randomize who you end up in a breakout room with. And that could be one person, it could be two people. You spend some time just chatting to them 2 or 3 minutes, and then we randomize again. And you might land up in the same room again with the same person. You can continue a conversation, or somebody different. It's a good way just to get to see people, meet people, chat to different people. And often what has happened is like, you know, we've ended it and somebody's gone, oh, we were in a really good conversation, and then they'll carry on that conversation afterwards. So it's just a really quick and easy way to get you in different rooms with different people. And dependent on your own team size, you could do it within your team as well if it's a new team. But also you can do it, you know, with multiple teams and bring multiple teams together. So, you know, it's another good way of using, say, breakout rooms in Zoom or another tool to facilitate that thing pretty easily, to be fair.
Yeah, I want to add something. I think that the dynamics you described is almost like meeting someone in the snack bar. So it's in real life, let's say real life before COVID. It was the way that you met the people you worked with without having to talk about project things, about technical things or anything. So yeah. I think we need to remember how life was before COVID and try some way to remediate those interactions that used to happen in the real world. So that's a good example, and I think we need to be creative in finding or trying to remember how things were and try to replicate things. It's like, for example, someone who goes to prison and needs a 1 hour sunbath to stay healthy. So, and probably the person who is most fit to have an eye on these kind of things is probably a Scrum Master or an Agile coach or some person in a similar role. So I think that's something very much needed that we didn't need so much before the pandemic. Just my thoughts.
Just if I can ask a question on that, are you suggesting you need that person in order to initiate those sorts of interactions? So your Scrum Master, your Agile coach?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as how to work in an agile way, where when you do not have someone with a specific role of Scrum Master of anything. If the team makes the decision that these things are important, they can do a contract for that. But if there's a person that has that specific role, I think that he or she can act as a facilitator for this kind of activities and keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Almost like a team morale officer.
Sorry?
Like a team morale officer type thing.
Yeah, more like that.
Sorry, John.
No, that's fine. I was just going to comment that at least I'm not the only one that has little visitors that come and steal my stationery. So
No, you're definitely not. No.
It's really like being in the office. Yep, sorry.
That's fine. How's everyone feeling about this topic? Did this answer the question? Do we need to deep diver? What? Dive deeper. Sorry, can't speak today.
It is early. You're allowed.
Yeah. Yeah. Does this answer your question? And do you want to discuss more?
I just want to say thanks. Actually, the songs idea is great, and I think that would work for like everyone. I think I could probably get the whole company on board with that. I'm going to see if I can build like a Slack app that does that, so I don't have to manage it myself. And that's a whole new learning experience as well. So that's fun. Yeah. Sorry.
Nice. No, it's all good. Sweet. Let's move on then. Me time. I need some of that right now. All right, so let's 12 minutes again. Awesome. This is good. Good conversations, people. My keyboard's not working. Perfect. Let's put that for 3 minutes. Press play, and that was me. Ta-da! Me time. Yeah, this kind of brings into sort of best ways of working remotely with people, but also you kind of have to remember about yourself and your own health, because you can't do your best ways of working remotely if you're not looking after yourself. And some of the things that I kind of revisited recently is Pomodoro technique. I use this tool that basically tells me I set it to be 45 minutes to tell me like take a break for 5 minutes. It's every 4 times, then 10 minutes or something. Like you can configure it. It doesn't matter. Point being is taking breaks is important. Like I found out you have to stare outside of the window far distance in order to allow your eyes to continue like working properly. So that's kind of been interesting discovery for me.
I think as part of me time and something that my test leads and managers has been saying as well, now is the time to realize that things are not going to be perfect. Things are not going to be like, you can't commit to stretches of like 8 hours work because you'll burn out massively. being able to have those conversations to say, you know, people need to homeschool, people need to, you know, do some things around the house. People need the time to decompress. If you need to go and have a walk and clear your head, that's perfectly fine. You cannot keep up like being at home 8 hours a day, committed to just test. You need that time for your brain to think about things, or to get different visual stimulus, or to get off Zoom, all those types of things. And that is fine. I've seen companies, I know Bloom and Wild was one of them, that set up a contract for the company to say, it's okay that sometimes, you know, we can't do these types of things or commit to this level of working from home constantly, and just made that sort of commitment to everyone to say, it's okay, take some me time, take a walk, you'll be better off for it. So yeah, that's really important as well, to recognize that.
But again, sorry, Stuart, go on.
No, I was gonna say, one of the things that we found is that when we first went into the pandemic, you know, there was this feeling of, I must be at my laptop all day, every day, else people are going to wonder what I'm doing, right? And productivity went through the roof, but creativity dropped, right? Because people didn't have the time to think, people didn't have the time to be creative, not, you know, take a break, go away and go, oh, actually, I've had a really good idea. You just don't get that time to do it. And just little things like, you know, having meetings literally back to back. So we've said, right, meetings should only be 50 minutes max, to give you at least 10 minutes in between. And so you can step away, have a think, have a, you know, just little things like that we're trying to encourage. But also, as you know, I say this to all my team, is like, even if you're in the middle of a meeting and you need to step away, you've got to just say, I need to step away, guys, sorry. You know, my child is misbehaving in the background, or, you know, I just need to go and have a break for just a couple of minutes to step away from this call. And I think one of the things that has been really, really great about this is, I think, you know, we're now, because we're all in this situation, it's much easier for us to have empathy with everybody else, right? Whereas before, you may have worked in an org, and we've always had flexible working at Dunelm, for example, but you know, one person might be at home, the rest of the team might be in the office. So, you know, you're not all in that same space. So I think, you know, it's easier now with transparency and open communication to say, do you know what, I just need to take 5 minutes, I need to take 10 minutes. And that's what we encourage people, just to say, if you're going for a walk, go for a walk. Just let everybody know you're going for a walk. It's fine, don't worry. You know, I think that's really important to be open about it.
Yep, absolutely. And my point was, that comes back to your working contract with your team as well, is, you know, I'm going to have a 10-minute break. I'm going to have this when I feel I need to. It doesn't have to be decreed from above that you will do this. Like our organisation has, the decree has come from above that we have a meeting-free Tuesday. So nobody's supposed to have a meeting on a Tuesday. It's like, but what about stand-up, sprint planning, retrospectives, all these things that we need to do, as well as Three Amigos, as well as all these things that we have to do in order to achieve our job. And so basically we've said, well, we'll use judgment.
Why Tuesday? It's normally Friday. Tuesday seems like even a really odd day for that as well. Is it obviously good for them, but obviously doesn't work for anyone else?
I don't know. This literally came down in an email to say, hey, we're not using Teams on a Tuesday now.
No Teams Tuesday? I suppose that sort of rhymes, maybe, that's why.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we used to have, in one team, you know, we used to have Wednesdays, no meeting free days, like, you know, meeting free because we want to have middle of the week, so that, you know, 2 days you have the meetings and, you know, every other things, other 2 days, you know, Thursday and Fridays, but Wednesdays is a free day.
And I know to help with homeschooling, a lot of companies have asked people to sort of limit the amount of morning meetings that take place, because a lot of homeschooling happens in the morning as well.
Nice. Does anyone else have anything to contribute to me time or to you time?
Well, obviously, just to remind people, really, that if you've got a Microsoft 365 subscription, you can sign up for 3 months of Mindspace. So you can do your little tiny meditations for free for 3 months if you go onto the benefits page on Microsoft, which I found first lockdown really, really good. And I've actually kept that up. So that's been really good.
Amazing.
Just to finish up on that, Oleg, I think one of the areas where we've struggled a little bit is personal development, self-training, that kind of thing, and building time into people's days, weeks, months to enable that to happen. So we've tried a few different things. We've not prescribed anything. We've kind of gone, every person should have 20% of their time to do this stuff. How you go about that, it's that team contract again, John, that every team might be slightly different. People might spread that over a few weeks. They might take X days a month in a particular week or whatever, but we're really encouraging that to happen, to make sure and we're following up with regular one-to-ones with everybody to say, how's your personal development coming on, right? Because we really want to make sure people maintain a level of personal development. It's really important. And we need to make sure we're investing in people to do that, because if they're not, then that's on us as an organisation. So that's something else that we've not quite nailed it, but we're trying to really focus on that and make sure that everybody's got that time.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. Are we feeling happy about this topic? Yeah, amazing. I love Callan's reaction. Right, so I moved over a couple more tickets. There is 3 of these, which all kind of have free, so I'm just gonna go top down. Discipline and routine. Let's see how long. 8 minutes, not bad. Again, keyboard's not working, so just a second. 3 minutes. Play. So this was me again. I think it's more kind of, we discussed some of this stuff already, about how to keep our sanity, free discipline, having routines, using different apps and stuff like that. So for myself, I've always been sort of, bringing a lot self-disciplined. I think it's really important. I kind of studied a bit of Stoicism, not intensely, but to help understand how to have a set clear goals and mind and whatnot, to keep sane. It's been helping during pandemic. So I find that I have a routine. I've got notifications telling me what I should do. I've got a couple of different apps. So work thankfully provides Calm app, which lets you check in, lets you do stuff. I've got Luminicity, which basically lets me do training of my own mental games, which is great. So I kind of have different routines there. Terrible at the exercise routine. I've done Joe Wicks for a bit, and I've done a few other ones. And yeah, exercise terrible, but I love food. Can't help it. And yeah, so I think this is important for mental health and for everything else, to be honest. And it kind of seeps into your personal and your professional life. What does everyone else do?
Can I put the opposite point across as well, that there are a lot of studies at the moment that show that where we lack new sensory input a lot, so things are feeling very samey, that really makes it difficult to create new memories or to anchor memories to things, and makes time feel very strange at the moment. People have advocated for things like almost decorating for holidays, just for that 1 month or that couple of weeks, because the difference in your environment helps cement your memories and mark the passage of time. So things like that can really help. So actually, although discipline can help generally in your day-to-day, one big part of mental health is also injecting that bit of chaos or something unexpected, just to help with forming memories, keeping your brain active and so on. So even if that means taking a left where you would take a right on your walk, just to see something different or unplanned, or get a new plant and decorate and then take it down, or rearrange your furniture. Do things like that, because that will also help with mental health, as well as being able to be disciplined in your work environment, in your working time and so on. Make sure to inject that bit of creativity as well, for really helping.
Just get a couple of Bengal cats or kids.
But only for a month, because otherwise they become routine.
That's true.
I've got a couple if anybody wants to borrow them for a month.
You're going to rent them out.
It's a little money spinner there.
New business.
I have one thing to add here. Sorry, I'm putting down anyone. I have one thing to add here. The one more small change we can do to, like, activate the other part of the brain. Is like the things usually for me. Usually I'll start brushing a day with right hand. Usually my dominating hand is right hand. But what the study says is sometimes you need to start with the left hand, so that your mind will be more conscious. The same way, whatever the activities, usually we use our right hand. So rather than that, start using the left hand, or as Kaliam said, if you are taking the same route, do it in a reverse direction. So it's more conscious. Obviously, we see the things we don't see regularly. So these kind of things, makes you brain to be alert.
That's a really good idea.
I'm quite left-handed though, so my right hand might as well be a hook. So I suppose it would take me 4 times longer to do everything if I tried to do everything with my right hand. So that's a learning experience.
No, ask me when I started with left hand. When I want to try with the left hand, I hurt myself. Because it's not that balanced as right hand. Obviously, we don't use much. So.
Yeah, I did actually start doing that myself, and I found it that when you start writing with your left hand, you find the mouse doesn't get in the way of your pad as much, because of course it's on the other side of the keyboard, so you can write your notes down with your left hand, and yeah, it does create an interesting day of what the hell does that say? Okay.
I think we just came up with a good book here, or a movie, Chaos, Routine, and Discipline. Or a talk, guys. Got an idea. We're gonna do a talk. Cool, awesome. Do we have anything else about chaos, discipline, or routine?
I think I think one of the things we're having conversations with at the moment is people taking holiday, and people not keen to take holiday because they haven't got anything to do. But actually, what we were just saying here is a really good example why people should still take their holiday, just to mix it up, do something a little bit, different. Their routine is that daily, whatever that might be, like you say, Oleg, but then throwing into the chaos mix is what you need. So, I think it's a really good conversational point, actually.
Yeah, just to add to that point, Stuart, even we have the same issue in our company. Like, last year, usually we can carry forward 5 days, and so this kind of stuff happened. But people, because of this lockdown, nobody was using the holidays, and management was, they're sending a reminders, guys, feel like normal year, don't think that we are in a pandemic and you're sitting at home. Start using your holidays as normal. But people obviously we have the tendency, okay, why do I need to use holiday? I'm not going anywhere. So then companies started forcing, saying that you have to take it, use it or lose it. That's the only policy. So there is no carry forward in last year. So you have to use all your holidays. So obviously people have to take it.
And if you even if you're at home, there are definitely things you can do that will make things feel different or make things feel fun. Think like a kid. Build a pillow fort, or have your dinner as a picnic on the floor. Just pull all your, I'm sure everyone's got like 1,000 plants now, but pull all those to make it look like the outdoors into one room. If you just inject a bit of childishness, that's the word, kidness. You can really come up with some quite interesting ideas, or steal them from online. But yeah, it's just we worry about like being professional and disciplined and having all that routine, but you know, we need some of that at the moment, just frivolity and whimsy.
Nice.
Even for the kids as well, you know, it's really tough actually, you know. At least, you know, us, we can understand, and you know, we have, like, you know, as we discussed, we have various ways to engage our mind, reading books, you know, listening to music. But again, you know, when it comes to kids, it's difficult, you know, they can't express, you know. The one thing I observed with my kids is, you know, I can see them, you know, they're very low in the moods, and you know, and always sticking to the iPads, or you know, like TV. When it comes to half term, you know, usually I have a habit of, you know, taking holidays during half term. So take them out, you know, go for a cycling. So what we used to do is, you know, we used to go, because you know, during summer we used to go out for cycling in the morning, have lunch outside, come back, you know. So this kind of stuff, you know, at least, you know, that 1 week was refreshing for them, at least, you know, which is really helpful for the kids.
Very true.
I think that we need something analog to landmarks. That is, you're traveling. If you're traveling in a desert, in a straight road, and you don't have any references, you have statistically more accidents. That is, you need a curve from time to time. You need some kind of reference. And if we go every day doing our daily meeting the same way, and every 2 weeks we have a repetition of the ceremonies, and we don't have a theme for each sprint, and some unexpected things, some things that call our attention. We are like in the movie Groundhog Day, that you repeat the same thing all over, and you become demotivated, and the climate in the team gets worse, but nobody talks about it. I think we need to be very attentive to these things, because mental problems and depression and every kind of psychological problems are on the rise in this time in every country. So,
absolutely.
I think we need to think mechanisms to have a healthy dynamics inside our teams, inside our work space.
Yeah, absolutely, and that gets back to, well, actually 3 people's comments. You know, you've got your wandering through the desert, and then we've got a mirage, which is Callum's picnic on the kitchen floor, or picnic on the floor, and sort of injecting something tangible, which of course then goes back to Oleg's me time. You know, you need to inject something in for your own health. Some sort of change, something to cling on to and say, this is what I am. And I really liked your Groundhog Day analogy, because he doesn't just go through the cycle. If you recall, he learns how to play the piano, he learns how to dance, he learns how to do all these additional things which he didn't know how to do before. So I think that's the takeaway from this, I think, is that we need to do things and encourage others to do things as well.
Very, very true. Thank you for everyone. I think it's fair to say this topic has been discussed, probably never ending, to be honest. It's a very interesting one, and I think we do need to follow up on it. Chaos, discipline, routine. That's an excellent one. Cool. I think it's fair to say we can wrap this up, because I'm pretty sure everyone's got chaos waiting for them in a minute, all the meetings and whatnot. I really appreciate everyone's time. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to pass this over to Ash.
Thank you very much, Oleg. Yeah, thanks for obviously running the show for us this morning. But no, great conversation. Thanks everybody for joining us and for their contributions. We'll drop an email around to everyone with details for the next one. And yeah, obviously, hopefully you can all join us then. This has been recorded, so I'll send the recording out later on this afternoon. And yeah, feel free to drop me any questions or any ideas that you'd like to hear in the future. And yeah, we'll get something booked in.
Yeah. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone.
day.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.
Nice.